All right. Well, with that, call the meeting to order at 6:05. Thanks everybody again for coming. Appreciate your being here. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't had a lot of time to kind of prep for this, so I'm going to wing it a little bit, but so I apologize in advance if I'm not as well prepared as I maybe ought to be. So, but how's everybody doing?
Good.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
doing great.
Cool. Well, then let's dive in. First thing on the agenda, which let me share that real quick. You read that all right? Need me to zoom it in or we could?
Looking good.
Okay, cool. Okay, so first thing on the agenda is to ratify the minutes from the February meeting. Did everybody have a chance to take a look at those and get any changes they needed over to Ricky?
hmm
Okay, so if everybody's happy with it, then I would move that we accept the minutes.
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, good, cool. Does anybody have anything they want to add to the agenda or take off the agenda? All right, good. Anything that anybody wants to say? Okay, sorry. Um, very good. Well, then let's dive in here. Stuff coming up. I didn't have a chance to update this. We actually decided to cancel the Healing Waters trip for Saturday based on weather and fishing conditions at Franz Lake. It was going to be a bunch of first time anglers coming up, and so they decided that not catching fish on a cold day wasn't the best way to introduce folks to fishing. So canceled it yesterday, unfortunately. So
Worked for
um,
me. I mean,
what's that?
it worked for me. I've spent a lot of cold days not catching fish. I'm absolutely hooked. So, but not my decision, but yeah.
Yeah. So, but we'll still have the one in August, or sorry, in July at Chalk Lake. So, and then next week is the Arc Basin Water Forum. Bunch of us will be there. Bob will be there. Ricky will be there. I'll be there. Don Schotterbeck will be there. So that should be cool. We have a daunting number of people signed up for our tour of the South Arc project. Last time I looked, it was 60. So it may, I don't know if it's more than that or not, but it's uh, far, far too many. But it's cool to see that people are have interest in that project. So
What is
speaking
that, Chris?
of,
That so that
yeah,
part of the Arc Basin Water Forum is I mean, it's in Salida, and then there's that was just something that was added this year, like as one of the kind of the events, or just I'm curious in the background of that. So
The tour or what?
yeah, yeah, basically. I mean, so I know about the water
We
forum, but
we
like,
always do tours. That's been
okay,
the format is we rotate around four different locations.
okay,
But we have concurrent sessions in the morning, plenary session, different things in the morning, and then have lunch, and then we go off and do tours.
oh,
Um,
cool, okay.
I mean, there's several if you look at the agenda, but we have like 40 people on a raft trip from Big Bend to Salida. Um,
Okay,
and so
cool.
yeah, we sold out. So there's about 200, little over 200 people, 210 or something, um, coming for this thing. So you got to divide them up because they got to go somewhere. The whiskey tour sold out right away, or not sold out, but signed
sure.
up right away. There's like
Uh-huh.
30 people max on that for because of space. That was the first. So yeah, I mean, tours are really popular. It's really a good way to go.
And this, I'm just another, sorry to ask all these questions, but the Arc Basin Water Forum, this, and people are coming from as far away as what? I mean, like how far downstream are people coming up
Leadville
from?
to Rocky Ford and
Okay. So all the way out
even as
to on the
far as
plains.
Lamar sometimes from Leadville all
Okay.
the way. I mean, we try to cover the whole basin. We rotate. Next year we're in the Springs, then La Junta, and then it goes to Pueblo and then back to Salida. So it's a four community rotation.
Okay. Cool. Well, thanks.
So then May 16th is Clean Up Green Up. And I'd really love to have everybody uh, sign up for that. If you haven't done that before, it's primarily Garna and AHRA that do that. And they've got segments of river all the way from Hayden Meadows to Parkdale that you can sign up for to clean. And there's going to be registration or like a sign up at the community center in BV, but then also at the main one is at Riverside Park in Salida. And then there'll be a big party down there essentially and gear up for summer deal. And lunch is included. You get basically a free lunch if you help out. So we're one of the sponsors for this. So it'd be great to have folks sign up for that. And Scott, I'll get you some information for the newsletter on that.
Yeah,
Hey
yeah.
Chris, I have a
That should be
couple
fun.
questions on that event.
Yep.
Are bags available? Sometimes there's been bags available,
Yeah, there should be bags
trash
available
bags.
at the
They
at the
are
check-in. Yeah,
at the check-ins, but you have to be in town then and then go off to your location.
right.
Does AHRA have some? I've got them before, prior to the event.
I don't know the answer to that, but
I'll
I
bet
can find out
I
for
could
you.
check with them. The other thing is there going to be like a dumpster? Or I know in the past we've been taking stuff to Vanderveer. Is that is everything coming
Um,
into town now? Is there going to be like a
I,
roll off or something?
I don't know. I'm not sure, but I would think it's
Okay.
bring everything back to Park is I believe is how it's going to work.
Okay. So
There
they
up
must have
in
a roll
BV, yeah, in BV we're using the dumpster at the community center.
off.
Uh,
Oh.
but yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not part of the planning for it. I'm just
Yeah, I remember too. I wasn't able to volunteer last year because I was overseas, but and I will be this year as well. But yeah, 2 years ago, I manned the table at the BV Community Center, and we handed out bags, trash pickers, the little claw things, which
Oh
honestly
wow.
nobody took us up on. Um, and there was a just a basic dumpster there, and we didn't really even see much come back. I don't know if people just took it to their house. I mean, obviously, if you find a tire, what are you going to do with it? But we didn't really see a ton of stuff coming back to BV at that point. So I don't know if
yeah.
what was going on, but yeah,
Yeah,
Pam, what do you do
tires
when
you're
you
going
find a
to pay
tire?
extra.
Pam got a tire the last time, like 2 years ago, I think, didn't
make a
she?
swing.
Um,
Okay.
all right, well then, very good. Next chapter meeting is going to be May 21st. Jason Willis is going to talk about the Abandoned Minelands program. And he's got a project coming up in going to construction in Hayden Meadows in September. So he's going to talk a lot about that. And then also about Monarch Ponds and the phase 2 work that they did on Monarch Ponds last summer. And then just generally about the Abandoned Minelands program. And then a little bit about Good Sam, but trying to fit it all into, a 90-minute session. But that should be a really good one. June 5th is Headwaters Institute. And so we're a partner in that again. We'll be, like usual, doing stream ecology and um, etiquette for interacting, for raft guides to interact with anglers. Those are kind of the things that we typically cover. And that's down at Scout Hut again. So let's see. As I mentioned before, Project Healing Waters at Chalk Lake, the 22nd, and then Moonlight Monday on the 14th of September. So hope to add a few things to this. Scott's going to talk a little bit more in a bit about some more stuff we're hoping to add on this, but it's a pretty good schedule so far. We do need to come up. Our next chapter meeting after May will be in September, and don't have anybody lined up for a presenter at that. So if anybody has ideas on that, would be awesome. And just let me know if you have any thoughts, and we can work on getting folks on that one.
Cool. Is there any
Anybody?
need for the Headwaters Institute, Chris? Is there That's a Friday, I see. Is
Yep.
there, we're fully
Um,
staffed, or is that all
we're
taken
in
care
pretty
of?
good shape for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just typically go down and I'm organizing that one for Garna, so I'm kind of doing all that stuff. But we've got a full slate of presenters, and then as far as our part in it, I usually do a talk on stream ecology and etiquette, and I've got that pretty dialed in.
Okay.
And
Sounds good.
in the past, it's been I've needed help kicking up macroinvertebrates because it's usually high water in at the beginning of June, but that's not going to be much of an issue this year. So um, anyway, if it is open to the public. I mean, it's geared towards first year rafting guides, but it's open to
Hmm.
the public. If you're interested in going, tickets are $25, and that includes lunch and coffee and an after party with free beer at High Side. So like, you get more in food and stuff than you pay, and it's worthwhile. There'll be talks about geology and wildlife of the along the river and so on. So it's a good time.
Okay.
Any questions on any of that before we move on?
Um, well, I don't know if this falls under upcoming meetings and events, but do we have the schedule yet for the, gosh, what was it called? I volunteered last year with the kids, um, with Garna.
Stream
Those,
Explorers?
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
stream. It's gonna be a single day event this year, and it's gonna be in, I believe, in August.
okay,
There is a date set. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but
gotcha.
um,
I'm
so
just curious because I'm going to
yeah.
try to re-volunteer for Project Healing Waters for that July 22nd date. But if Gene's already full of volunteers, then I would have a day to put towards Stream Explorers potentially. So that's why I was just
Okay.
curious.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's gonna be just a single day. It's been evolving over time. Originally, it was 4 half-day sessions,
Hmm.
and getting kids there for like 4 Fridays in a row was almost impossible. So we decided to do two two full day sessions, and oh, maybe it is going to be two. It's going to be 2 days, but that's yeah. Sorry. So it's going to be two full day sessions. So like 2 Fridays in a row. And we used to do a session in BV and a session in Salida, so we would have, two different editions of it. And we decided to combine those and just shuttle the kids from, because we're bringing the kids from BV down to the fish hatchery and Salida and stuff anyway. So we're like, we'll just use the Garna's van to shuttle kids down from BV, and we'll just do one session instead of, because we were having like six or fewer kids for both sessions.
Hmm.
So like, let's just do one. We can handle all that. And so it's been compressed from like 8 days down to 2 days now, but it's still uh, the same coverage.
Gotcha.
Um,
Okay.
all right. Well, if everybody's cool, let's dive into new business here. So first thing I had on here was just going to do a recap of the film fest and specifically the finances on that. And where to go? Pull up my notes here. Uh, from a financial standpoint, as a fundraiser, it was really good. We did really well. We had $4,450 in sponsorships, which is more than we got last year. And we had a few sponsors who didn't re-up, but we had a few new sponsors. So um, awesome job to the folks who did all that, Billy and Andrew and Scott and Mark, who all were out pounding pavement getting money. That was fantastic. And so yeah, we exceeded that. The raffle kicked butt this year. We got over with $3,341 in raffle tickets, which is like 50% more than we did last year. Last year was around 2,000 something. So I don't know if it was just the layout and visibility or how it would, but people were buying raffle tickets, which is awesome. And then we got $1,400 from the auction, which wasn't what didn't get the interest that I had hoped it would, but that was an experiment. And so we'll think about whether we want to keep doing that or not. Kind of threw that in last minute because we had so many items. It was too many items to put in one raffle. It would have been like a dozen raffle items. So figure, well, let's try an auction and see how it goes. And so I think we can I think it's worth doing again and being a little more thoughtful about it. And I think we can make that better. But still, it's $1,400, so that's good. So overall, we're about just over $9,000 right now, and we don't have the ticket sales in there yet. And so we'll be well over $10,000 raised once we get the ticket sales. That usually it takes a while to get the money from the IF4 people. Um, so yeah, all in all, very successful. And I know that a lot of you did put notes in as far as thoughts on the venue and the process and how it happened and lessons learned. So I really appreciate everybody doing that while it was fresh in your minds. I haven't had a chance to look through those yet, but we'll process that and kind of take a look at it. I would like to. Just maybe a thumbs up, thumbs down from all of you who were there on the venue. If you thought that was a venue that we should go to again, there definitely were issues. I know the food thing was an issue that we'll try to figure out, but generally speaking, if you throw a thumbs up, thumbs down if you were there on whether you think the Lariat is a good spot to look at doing it again next year.
I mean, I'll,
I thought it was
Yeah.
compared to having it in South Maine, totally different vibe in my mind. But it seemed like everybody was having a really good time, and it was a lot of fun. I was just worried about Bob kept saying he wanted to kick somebody out, so I had to keep holding him back from the door. So that was my only issue.
yeah,
What was going on there? What?
the bouncers were a little intense.
Bob was wanting to bounce somebody out, but I kept having to back him off.
Oh, Billy, Billy, Billy.
It was a lot
I,
of fun.
it was interesting. I think our perspective was different on where Billy and I were at the front and by the bar compared to you guys over by the raffle. And where even in that small space, there was a way different scene going on. I mean, people could not hear, even though it was really, really loud, they could not hear what was going on with the show if you were on that bar or behind that bar. And, some people, like Billy said, it didn't even matter to them. I don't know. I don't know. I would be interested in hear the feedback from the attendees as well. But, the food thing was a big issue. People were like, what do you mean I can't get food? And it seemed like the wait staff did not want to go to the chairs and
No.
have to go back and forth to the people sitting in the chairs in the lineup. You
No,
had
and
to
we knew
have a
that going
table.
in.
What's
We knew
that?
that we knew that going in, and that was something that I hope you guys were telling them at the door. But that was something that we had talked about beforehand that they were going to let them know that they had to be at a table in order to get food. But that's definitely an issue, and I'm not sure what the solution is for that.
Well, why
Uh,
can't people get food at the bar and bring it to the chair? I don't know if it took too long to make food or
well, yeah, I don't
that's
know.
probably why.
We'll have to work it out. I think my understanding was the issue was that they didn't want wait staff trying to find people in the chairs.
That's right. Yeah,
And so, but as far as I knew, there was wouldn't if somebody had gotten something at the bar and then walked it over there themselves. I don't know why that would have been an issue. So
I
that's
don't
something,
know.
if they weren't allowing that, then that's something we can talk through with Zach, the owner there, and figure out.
I
But
mean, I think on the whole, it worked out, pretty well, to be honest.
yeah,
Definitely was a pretty good vibe in there. I'm going to there's a trail running film festival in BV on Friday night at the Orpheum. So kind of
okay,
newly reopened. So I was going to check that place out and just see how it goes in there. I mean, I don't think, being
cool.
able to have dinner is really like a selling point of the IF4. Kind of was maybe more of a bonus at the Lariat. Definitely drinks is good to have and an incentive for the venue. just because of sales. So I say, we kind of keep it in mind for next year, and in the meantime, think about some potential, other venues or whatever that are, reasonable in terms of like rent and wanting to host us. But I mean, I think the Lariat definitely worked. But and it was kind of fun to be in a packed place. There's definitely a lot of energy in there, and that maybe kind of steered some people to the raffle because they're in an enclosed space. So where are they going to go? So they're going to kind of circulate a little bit. So that might have helped the raffle sales.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, let's kind of keep our eyes out for.
Scott, what's the place you're talking about? The Orf?
So on Main Street in BV, it's kind of down. If you know the roastery there, it's like just a couple doors down from the roastery. Um, I don't know what it used to be, the space, but they're calling it the Orpheum. Maybe it always has been called that. I don't know, but it's they've kind of reopened it. Somebody bought it and did a lot of work, and they're going to be having this trail running film festival in there. So I know they can house quite a few people. I don't know. I haven't seen inside yet, so Friday night will be kind of the test case. But I know we're looking for like a medium-sized venue that has a liquor license that can show something, can show a movie or whatever. Um, Salida, I'm thinking, nothing's really kind of coming to mind. I don't know about that downtown Salida, the place that used to be a movie theater right there on West Main by the Eddie, the next Eddie Fly Shop. I can't remember the name of
Yeah,
that one, but
that's being renovated right now, but we
yeah,
really need to keep it in BV because of upriver.
upriver. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
So let's,
the Orpheum by all accounts is gorgeous inside. Like they've been remodeling that up. It's the upstairs, like above the roastery, across the street from the trailhead. It's the
right.
upstairs place up there, and I'm just afraid it's gonna be really, really expensive. But
Hmm.
we'll find out. But it's yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna be they should be open for this thing. What I
Yeah.
heard was they were still waiting for some stuff to get delivered, but if everything got
Okay.
delivered on time, they'd be open to be ready. But
Yeah.
so Pam,
Well, hey,
Pam, you
look,
threw
the Lariat worked, and I think we
yeah,
lessons learned and we can review the sheet at some point. And I think with a couple tweaks, we could do even better. So,
yeah.
um, we
Pam,
we
you
have
threw a thumbs
places.
down.
So,
What was your thumbs down, Pam?
Chris,
Yeah.
um, some friends of mine were sitting in the rows at the Lariat,
Uh-huh.
more towards the front of the stage, and we all thought the volume was incredible.
I thought
Um,
so too,
was
Pam.
really, really loud. I don't know.
Okay.
You got
Well, that can be fixed
any requests to turn that down a little bit, or maybe it's just us old guys with hearing aids.
for the films or for the MCs or for
The
both.
M
Oh,
the MC, the MCs
Yeah.
were
Yeah. That
kind of
was
shouting into
yeah.
those microphones, and it really wasn't needed. I know they were trying to get everybody jazzed up and juiced, but wow.
Okay. Okay. So that can be adjusted, but in terms of a detail like that, what did you think of? Did you think the venue itself was okay? Like not including the volume issue?
I think it was okay. I did
Okay.
see, it was good that there were so many TVs around because everyone was pretty much glued to the films, and I thought the volume on those were okay, but
Okay.
the Lariat is set up for bands, and
Yeah.
so that's why they have such a powerful
Yeah.
system.
Well, we could have turned that down. So when we did the mic check, the sound check on the mics, Ben wasn't there yet, Ben Wygant. And he came and spiked he's just way louder than we realized he was going to be.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, but it's tough to start messing with volume in the middle of a show. So that's definitely
Right.
on the list. We definitely have that down of like, we need to adjust to Ben with that volume. But
Right, right. We were
that can be adjusted, but I mostly want to know if there's like issues with the venue itself that can't be fixed that we need to find something someplace else. So
No, no, not at
okay,
all.
all right,
I
good,
thought
cool.
it looked like everyone was mingling, and during the breaks, and so no, I thought the venue was fine, just a little too loud.
Okay, cool. All right, very good. Well, I'll take a look through more of that stuff, and we'll think through a lot of those issues as we look at next year. Um, so in the same vein, as far as the fundraising for that goes, moving on to the next item on the agenda here, we did get a we haven't got it yet, but we got a commitment from Blue Triton to send us $2,500. So that'll be coming soon. And then we had applied for a grant from Walmart to fund the fishing derbies. And we didn't get everything that we asked for from them, but they are going to give us, or they actually have given us $500, which is $500 more than we've had in the past for those derbies. So that's great news. And then the other thing that came recently was Keith Krebs was awarded the Chaffey County Community Foundation awarded him the Volunteer of the Year, and that came with a $500 award and he had them send that to us. So we basically got a $500 grant from the Chaffey County Community Foundation, thanks to Keith. So with all of that, and then this past year, we had a much more effective Colorado Gives Day campaign, and we roughly doubled what we had done in the past with that. So with all of that, I think we're standing pretty strong in terms of fundraising for this year. So, which is great news because we're going to talk about how we're going
Amazing.
to spend it all in a little while, a minute here. So,
Great.
yeah, Scott, what?
And I was just saying that's great news.
Yeah, yeah. So then, anybody have any questions about any of that? All right, cool. Well, let's roll then. One thing we didn't do last year, which we had done in the past, was to have just social events, just get together for drinks during the summer. And so that's something we want to do again this year. And so Scott was going to kind of take the lead on that. So Scott, I'll let you kind of jump on here and give your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it's really simple. Unfortunately, I guess nobody from the programs committee is on the call, but basically, I just kind of brought it up to Chris, or maybe in the last board meeting, just because when I moved to town 3 years ago, I got right on the newsletter and saw there was a social happening at River Runners, and decided to go down and maybe meet some people, and met Karen and Reed, and Karen kind of cornered me, and next thing you know, I was on the board a few months later. So, I mean, speaking from my own experience, I know that these things can have the potential to draw people. I just thought it would be fun to kind of bring back these informal summer socials. Um, so I don't know what the interest is from the few of us that are on the meeting now, but I think I went to one it was either May or June, and Chris and I had texted a little bit or emailed about it, and I don't know if every other month or something. I figured, maybe something at River Runners on a Tuesday night, and then 2 months later in Salida on a Tuesday or Wednesday night. It was just basically an idea that I had. It's informal. It's just a chance for people, if they're in town, to get together and potentially get some members involved, um, or some new members, or some new folks that might become members. So I'm happy to put something on the schedule. I'm out of the country most of May, but then back for the whole summer. So um, happy to kind of get something on the books. I mean, I don't know, Pam, Bob, Billy, Mark, if, I don't know if that sounds like something that anyone would be interested in, but I thought it would be a kind of we don't have to rent a space. We don't have to do anything. It's just, hey, meet at River Runners at 6 on a Tuesday or something, and pretty low stakes. But the key is, I mean, at least somebody's got to be there. So I can't do it in May, but if we wanted to start in June, I could definitely do it. So yeah, I don't know if does that sound like a good idea to anyone? Yeah, okay. I mean, Billy's giving a thumbs up. It's kind of and again, if we wanted to start in May, I'd be happy to do it, but I won't be able to be there. But in June, I'd be willing to host it either in Salida or BV. We could have it at High Side in Salida, or because there's that big outdoor space. River Runners is great because they have all that outdoor space there. And I checked their calendar, and they mostly have concerts later in the week or on the weekend. So if we did something on a Tuesday or Wednesday, it would work. But um, anyway, so
I think it's a good
um,
idea, Scott. I think in May or early June is a great time because people aren't fully geared up for summer yet as far as how busy people are. Definitely would stay away from late June and July.
sure,
August is good too, a lot of times,
yeah,
especially near the end of August. As far as if
yeah,
we want to help promote, these businesses, I can speak definitely for river runners. I know they won't be busy yet on a Tuesday in May or early June. So
sure,
and it's easy just to say we want to do this and show up and just so they are staffed appropriately.
yeah,
I think there's like the drift in too, there's another
yep.
spot
The drift
down the river a little bit at Independent Whitewater. They
drift
seem to
in's
do a
great.
pretty
I
good
love the
job.
drift in. I can't remember the
Yeah.
name of their signature cocktail, but I don't know if that's a good or a bad sign that I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, it's pretty. It's got booze in it. I know that.
No,
So
that's another good location. Spread it around, or
yeah,
whatever. I mean, I like all those guys. Of course, I work with them all.
sure, sure. Okay, well maybe I'll just kind of take that on. Continue
Yeah, I
kind of to take
think
that on, and I guess I don't know if we reached out to the business, in 2023 when I joined, like just to give them a heads up on, hey, we're like I said, we didn't reserve, it was just whoever showed up kind of hung out at a table, but
Sure.
I could certainly get in touch and maybe we could shoot for June and August, it'd be 2 months apart, low stakes again. I'm happy to host both of them. Um, and just get something on the calendar just for summer show, summer socials. So,
and keep in mind we also have Moonlight Monday, September 14th. We could use, that obviously could be a third one.
okay.
We
Yeah.
did, as I recall, it was Karen that kind of mostly spearheaded that, and she definitely reached
Okay.
out to the businesses, and I think was able to get us at least a discount, if not some free food. I think at
Okay.
Eddie, we did one at Eddie Line at one point, and I think they provided some free food, which we don't need to do that, but uh, but definitely letting them know we're coming is a good idea.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I'd say we just at this stage, I would think if we just pick some dates and put them on on the calendar, and that's the dates.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep. Yep.
so
Sounds good. And like I said, it's informal, it's low stakes, it's low
mhm.
commitment. Doesn't cost us anything. So
Yeah,
yeah, let me look at dates and I'm back on I'm back like Memorial Day or something. So I'll look at June and August and hey, we
cool.
get 20 people or 3 people. Cool. It's we're just offering a little bit of social time for anybody who wants to meet up. So
I think we met you at Eddie Line, Chris.
Yeah, I think so.
I think
And then I was
you were
uh
making the rounds trying to meet some people. I remember meeting you there.
yeah, yep. And then I was hanging out with Chris Morton today, and he was saying the same thing at that same one at Eddie Line. He'd met a bunch of people because he was new in town at that point too.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Well, so that
it
makes three
definitely
of us.
works. Yeah.
Yeah, it can work. Okay, I'll take that on.
Okay, awesome. Great. Well, then the next thing on the agenda here is like I mentioned before, I don't have anybody lined up. Um, in the past, getting presenters lined up for the meetings was something that was done by a couple of the board members, and it wasn't me. But somehow, somewhere in the last couple of years, it sort of became my thing, and I would like it to not be. So. Um, if anybody, it was Bob, was that you or was it Rick Helmick that was doing that with Karen, kind of getting the presenters together?
I didn't really do that. I mean, sometimes I think it takes all of us to contribute like a name
Yeah,
or an idea. I don't think it's really hard for one person to just lead presenters, I think.
agreed.
Uh, I
So,
agree. It should not be you because it's like if you take it on, you're going to get it because that's just how these things work in
right.
volunteerism.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it was Karen Dills that was doing it. And when she retired from the board,
We
nobody
lost
picked it
them.
up. And so I was like, okay, we got to get some people on the schedule or we're not going to have a meeting. So, and then I inherited it. So, um, I'm happy to help, and I have ideas, but I need somebody to step up and take that on and be the point person for doing that. And that doesn't mean being solely responsible. What that means, like Bob said, um, working with everybody else to get it done, but being the one that kind of has an eye on it and making sure it's happening.
I nominate the programs committee because nobody's here. So I move that it's, but and I really hesitate to like throw my hat in the ring like this, but so I got very lucky this year. I have I got invited on a trip for the Middle Fork of the Salmon rafting in July, and obviously I'm bringing a fly rod. You know, it's gold medal cutthroat water, and I plan on taking a bunch of photos and stuff. So, you know, potentially for September, I could do a presentation on Idaho or something like that. You know,
Be
um,
cool.
but
Cool.
let's
Who are
see
you going
what you
That's
with?
know.
really cool.
I'm just going with some friends.
Oh,
You
it's a
know,
private trip.
it's a private. We got a permit, and so we're doing 6 nights. It's early. Well, it's like second week of July, Bob. So we're hoping we don't have to fly the rafts in, but we'll see what happens. But anyways, I'll be fishing my butt off every night. If I'm rowing or not, I think I'm rowing a mini max, but we'll see what happens. But so yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try to get some details at least to do a write up for the newsletter, and it could be expanded into a maybe a presentation like what you've done on the Green River, Chris. So let's kind of tentatively, think about that for September. But I agree with you that, we all need to kind of suggest, I've kind of sat back because, a lot of people in the area and always seem to come up with somebody who's in CPW or involved with water, but we should kind of be brainstorming a little bit more for some of these. So,
Yeah,
um,
and I'm running out of ideas and
message
people.
received.
So,
Yeah. No, fair enough. Yep.
um, I went fishing yesterday with a couple of guys from the Fort Collins chapter, one of whom is an entomologist who's
Mhm.
really interesting guy to talk to. And I could probably get him to come down, but I think I would have to reciprocate and do a presentation at their place up in Fort Collins. And I don't really want to do
Yeah.
that.
No,
So,
I'm sure we can figure something out. So,
yeah. But I could definitely talk with him about coming back down, and I think he'd be open to it. So that's sort of one in the bank if we need it.
okay.
All right, cool. Well, we'll keep working on that. But if everybody's cool, let's move on to the super most funnest part of
Just
this.
real quick, did we
Yeah,
talk about adult education events and I just spaced out, or did we skip that?
was it on here and I skipped it?
I think maybe. It's
Oh,
right
we
above
did. We did.
volunteer.
We did skip it. I'm sorry.
Oh, of
Yeah, thank you.
course.
So yeah, adult education events is another thing that I really very much would like to make sure that we do again this year. Billy did a great job last year of taking the lead on like the fly fishing 101 things. We had, again, folks are not here tonight who I'd want to talk with about this. Dave Belmont uh, was very involved in that, and he did a Euro nymphing class at one point. Don Harville has expressed interest in doing an entomology class. Um, I had coffee the other day with Tom Kolb, who is a member who is interested in helping out with doing these things, like especially with like just a fly fishing 101. So we have folks that we could do that. But I would like to get moving on it. Last year we got a late start on it. So one thing that we need to think about, which we always do, is making sure that any one-on-one classes we do, which are free, don't step on ARC anglers. They have a strong series of classes that they charge for, and so we don't want to be stepping on their toes because they're a great partner with us. And we've just sort of scheduled ours in their lulls. So, and they're cool with it, but we just communicate with them. And Kim is one of the Kim and Stuart are kind of the two that do those classes. So with her on the board, it's easy to have that communication going and make sure we're cool. But so, Billy, are you interested in working on that again this year?
Yeah, definitely. That I
Okay.
thought it was a great day, and I think everybody learned at least one thing. So yeah, I'd do that again.
Okay.
If I only had I think one volunteer who helped out with the actual fishing aspect of it, and I don't even know if that's necessary or not because driving over there and spending the time to get geared up. Um, I'll think a little bit more about that, but um, I mean, it's nice to hit the water, but I could have spent the whole time just in the classroom. I felt rushed to get everything through that I wanted to in that portion of time I had.
Yeah. One thing we did in the past was we did the whole thing at Mount Ouray. So we were right there, and so we didn't really have that lost time to drive. And
Sure.
so and we were able to do practice casting right there and and that seemed to work well. We did get blasted with rain that day, but we had tents and it was no big deal. So that's the thought. But yeah, we can think through all of that and see what worked and what didn't. I think was it Chris Morton that helped you out
It
with
was.
that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he probably would be up for helping too. And I think if we have more than one person helping out, that's gonna it's more people to untangle knots. And I think it's always nice to have different, sometimes one person will explain something a little bit differently and it'll click for a certain student. So I think having more than one person, at least for the casting practice and stuff, is good for a variety of reasons. So but
Yeah, I
if you're willing
agree.
to, yeah, if you're willing to take the lead on that, like I said, we can get Dave Belmont involved. He's worked on it in the past, and
Okay.
but I'd love to get it rolling now
Yeah.
because, like, yeah, last time we got a late start and it was a little bit rushed and it came off great, but it'd be nice to be a little more relaxed about the planning of it this year for your sake, mostly.
Yeah, I agree. And I can talk with Kim and kind of see what dates Arc Anglers is having their one-on-one course, and maybe come up with a few dates we can toss around.
Okay, that sounds great. Awesome, cool. Well, I'll leave that to you then.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. I don't think that's the only one that we missed. Thanks for that, Ricky. Um, I, sorry, while I navigate here, super professional.
This is a volunteer organization, Chris.
All right. So we have 8 members out of 11, so we do have a quorum to ratify this budget, should we so decide. Um, and hopefully you all had some time to take a look at this. Dawn Harville, hopefully we'll be able to tune in if their training session ends, but he and I kind of went through the last couple of budgets and especially what we actually spent over the last couple of years on some of these items, and we made a few tweaks here. There are some items that were there's just way more budgeted than we needed, so we pared them down to what our actual is, plus a buffer. We added we increased some of the contingencies, uh, because there was, like $50 in contingency, which isn't enough to really cover much of anything in some of these areas. But most of that was just sort of fine tuning of things, and it didn't really significantly change the budget itself. Um, so the ones that are changes that I wanted to call attention to are the ones that are highlighted in yellow here. The first being this Board of Directors Education and Development. And what that's been used for the last several years was for me and another board member to go to the fall rendezvous, the TU fall rendezvous. and it's been $1,200, and that covered it. There's also a spring rendezvous, which is basically there's two, semi-annual board meetings for Colorado TU. The last few years, the spring one has been in Salida, so we didn't have any cost, but they've moved it, and it's in Montrose this year, and it's going to be moving around again. And so going to that, there's costs associated with that. And so I had proposed increasing this budget to 1,600, which would put $400 in to have me go to, or whoever the president is, or our representative, if it doesn't have to be the president, to send one person to the spring one. It's a shorter, more compact. So if we're going to send somebody to one, it's definitely the fall one. That's the big one where you can make contacts, and the spring is much more a smaller deal. But so anyway, that's would be just to cover the cost of us having a representative at that rendezvous. And then um, this here, the promotional materials and fly boxes, well, promotional materials. I put $1,000 in there. I would like to get new hats and possibly sun shirts. We have chapter logo hats, but they're complete Collegiate Peaks Anglers hats, and they've got an old version of the TU logo. So, like I think two versions ago, and there are TU made changes to the logo. So even like our regular stuff, the colors are a little different, the fonts are a little different. And then there is Colorado TU did a cool one, and maybe some of you actually have one on my water bottle. I don't know if you can see it, but it shows up. So it's the TU logo with mountains in the background, and I'd like to get something like that done, and we can work with Colorado TU, and also like I know a couple of graphic designers who could work on something. So, but I'd like to get a logo like that made and get new hats made for us to either give away or sell. And then potentially do this a similar kind of thing on some sun shirts, like hoodie sun shirts, just so we have some merchandise available to sell. So that's what that $1,000 is in there for. So that's just a kind of a placeholder. I don't have a good idea of how much that would cost, but or if we get to it, but this year, but that's definitely something that I'd like to see happen. Um, Anybody have any questions or comments on either of those? Okay. The next one is a little one here. The guys who host the film fest for us. Um, I've been buying them like $100 gift card to Upriver just as a thank you. And so I would like to transfer that cost to the chapter moving forward, because it's basically a fundraising expense to have those guys there. I think um, assuming that they're not blowing eardrums out, they do a great job of getting people excited and motivated. So I think it's a worthwhile cause, and it's not something that they've asked for, but I think it's easy to get them to come back every year with a little bit of a bonus like that, in the back of their mind. But um,
Chris, real quick, where was that money coming from before?
my pocket,
Your pocket. Dang.
yeah,
Absolutely, we should be paying for that, the chapter. Okay.
yeah.
I was
And
just trying to keep my notes straight. And I'm like, wait, where was
I,
it coming from before?
yeah, I was happy to do it. It wasn't an issue. But Don was cajoled me into putting it into the budget, so it's fine. Um, all right, the next one here that we have is $2,500 for trout in the classroom. And this is speculative. There, we did have some interest from a teacher at Salida High School to do a tank down there. $2,500 is kind of the the budget for a new tank, for all the equipment for the tank. The chiller is really expensive, and pumps and so on. So that's kind of the cost of entry for a new tank. We haven't really heard much of anything from that teacher now, so I don't know that that's going to happen. I did hear from Sarah Evans, who's the teacher at BV High School who has the tank, that their chiller died last week.
Oh, no.
So they had a tank and all the equipment. They had a trout in the classroom, excuse me, a trout in the classroom back there when Jeff Keitel was the teacher, but it hasn't been used in like a decade. And this year, it all appeared to be working fine. So we said, well, we have a working chiller. That's the most expensive piece of equipment. So let's work with what we got. But it appears that it died last week. And so one more adventure for the BV tank. So this money, this $2,500, if it doesn't go to a new tank in Salida, a significant portion of that may be needed to get a new chiller for the tank in BV. So I would like to keep that in there as a placeholder again, just to see if we are going to need it or not. Because I don't know about you all, but I would love to have a tank in Salida at some point if we can get it to. But the hardest thing is finding a teacher who has the capacity because there it is a lot of work and it's a lot of time. And so they have to be in there on the weekends, feeding and all this stuff. And so finding a teacher who feels like they have the bandwidth to do that is not easy. So if we can find one, I'd love to take advantage of it. Anybody have any thoughts on that? No? Okay. The next one here is the Garna Porta Potty program. So Garna has for several years put porta potties at strategic locations and paid for the servicing of them throughout the county to try to mitigate um, impacts of recreation. So they put them at some of the most popular trailheads and like up in areas like Burmac, some of the really popular dispersed camping sites on BLM and Forest Service land. And last year we contributed $1,500 to that fund. And in exchange for that, they do a kind of a wrap on the porta potties. And we had our logo on there alongside of Garna's and so on. So we got good publicity for it. And one in particular we did was up at Cottonwood Lake. And this year they're going to be doing maintenance up there. So the vault toilet over by um, the fishing docks is going to be closed all summer. So we want to put a second porta potty over there because the one we put up was over by the boat ramp. So we want to put a second one in there. So we added a $500 in this to this line item to pay for that. That's the main, those are the main ones that are at like a fishing location. Most of the other ones are at other trailheads. So that would be for this year, and then I think it would probably go back down. But I think that should be an ongoing expense for us. I think it aligns with our mission to try to keep people from pooping in the creeks.
Is there anybody else from aside from Garna helping on that issue, or is it basically just us and Garna?
Just us and Garna. The Garna program is partially funded by the county.
Okay,
Like the Common Ground uh, pays for a good chunk of it. But this is sort of part of the matching funds for the Common Ground funds for it. Just like
gotcha.
most grants, you have to have 25% or whatever it might be of matching funds. So this is
Hmm.
part of that.
Okay.
Bob, you're on mute.
Is the Forest Service closing down that picnic area that you're talking about at Cottonwood? I mean,
I'm not
where
sure.
would
I
you
know,
put why would they close the bathroom but leave the picnic area open?
yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I think this is speculation, but I know they've been wanting to replace those fishing piers And the plan is to do basically use the same design that was used at Monarch Park, but those fishing piers are falling over. And I think one of them was actually just roped off last year because it's dangerous. So that
Yeah.
may be what it is, but I'm not sure why it was. I just Jess at Garna told me that they were closing the toilet, and so we're trying to figure out how to get another porta potty up there, but I'm not sure the reason why.
I just would wonder why, if maybe they would help out if they're going to close one that's at one of their sites.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I think they're trying to decide if they have jobs from day to day.
Sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they are.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm totally not, against this expense, by any means, especially, if we have money for it, but would kind of like just put my 2 cents in terms of the slippery slope argument, because if we start shouldering, you know, people who don't plan ahead at every busy location where somebody might fish, who's probably not the TU target demo, um, you know, we want to be a good partner to Garnet, but, um, as long as we're not taking money from, other programs, I guess is all I would say.
yeah. No, I understand that, and my expectation is that this would the additional $500 would be a one-time thing,
Hmm.
and then we would go back down probably next year to 1,500, which is where it was. That's what the board approved last year, and um, and it may be
Sounds
that
good.
Garnet is looking for more partners and funders, so we may be able to reduce that at some point. But yeah, I agree. We don't. It's not our program, but I think it's a good program for us to be involved in, and um,
Yeah,
so
no, I mean, the
hopefully
board approved
say
it last year, and so,
unlike
I'm on board.
yeah,
Not saying it
unlike
happened. Yeah.
most, we are getting some recognition from this one, in terms of publicity.
I
So
agree. People fishing at Cottonwood Lake, I don't know if that's, how many memberships we're getting from that, but I'm not arguing with it. But yeah,
yeah.
so let's keep it going and see what happens. So
Okay. Anybody else has comments, thoughts? Okay. So then the other new item in here, which again is going to should be a one-time thing, is matching funds for Jason Willis's project up in Hayden Meadows. So in a nutshell, Hayden Meadows was an area that historically had a lot of placer mining. So there's lots and lots, and if you've ever fished up there, you've seen the giant placer mining deposits that don't have anything growing on them. He's been working for a couple of years doing experiments on um, soil amendments and plant communities on there. So he's got test plots all over the place with like different additions to these things, and then different types of plants to come up with a way to essentially revegetate these placer deposits. Some of it's going to be removed, some of it's going to be remediated in place with vegetation. And so he's got that project going. It's going to go to construction in September, and it's fully funded. But since it was fully funded, the cost of diesel has skyrocketed. And so his cost for his operators for the equipment and hauling and everything is going to go way, way up. So he asked us if we could provide some funds for that to offset that increase in his costs. And the West Denver TU chapter is also going to give $2,000. So um, given that this is one of the core places that a lot of us fish, and this is a continuation of a project that we've had involvement with in the past. There's been extensive work done in Hayden Meadows since like I think 2012 was when the 11-mile reach project started, and Jason has done other. This is like at least the second, if not the third or fourth uh, um, phase of this project for Jason on top of the 11-mile reach project. So a lot of work doing up there. And so, um, again, just want to get everybody's thoughts on the value of putting that $2,000 towards that project.
That's super exciting.
It sounds
I
good to
didn't
me.
even, I've talked to Jason. He hasn't even mentioned this to me. I'm going to yell at him for not telling me about it because this is really cool.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I feel like this is what we should be doing.
Hmm. I
Um,
agree. I'm in
this is kind
complete
of
agreement.
this.
I think that's awesome.
This to
Hmm.
me is a really good use of our funds. So
Yeah, and maybe we can find a way to advertise it and get some more engagement out of Leadville.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely within our geographic scope and mission scope. So I'm totally on board with that.
Okay, good. So then there were some things that similar sorts of things that we'd had last year that aren't on here. We had contributed matching funds to the Minnequa Dam project. That was $5,000 that we're obviously not going to be doing again this year. Um, um, sorry, this is one of the things I was hoping to have prepared of an offsetting sort of a thing, and I didn't have a chance to do. But the overall budget number is very similar to last year, um, at just under 30,000. Um, we have here, this is as of end of February. So this doesn't include the deposits from the Film Fest. We're at 57,000. So, we're still in the black if we spend every dime and we don't bring in another dime. Um, so I think it's the budget is larger than what we've brought in. We're going to expect to bring in this year, but I don't think that we're like in danger of deficit spending. So, and also some of this stuff are things. Oh, here's one I mentioned just as an aside. Um, Stream Explorers, we send money to Garnet every year. That cost went down because I mentioned it's being consolidated into one session of 2 days. So that significantly decreases the staff cost of having Garnet staff there. So that's gone down by about $500. So there's offsets here and there throughout this budget. I forgot to mention that one. Um, so anyway, that's the proposal, and I'd love to hear anything that anybody else has to say. But if you all are comfortable with it, um, then we do have quorum to ratify it.
I motion to ratify. Is that what we need now? A motion? All right,
Yep.
there you go.
Unless anybody else has any more discussion.
It was so quiet. I just jumped in. Sorry.
No,
No,
I mean,
I
big
appreciate
thanks
that.
to
Yeah.
you and Don Harville, for working on this. Obviously, it's been, thought went into it, and I'm in favor. So
Okay. So we have a motion from Ricky. Can we call that a second, Scott?
second,
All right. All right. All in favor of ratifying the budget as it stands?
uh,
Aye.
Hi.
Okay. All right. Any opposed? All right. Cool. Well, that's done for another year. Thank you all.
Thank you.
well done. Thanks a lot, Chris. Appreciate it.
All right.
And Don.
Yeah,
Cool.
strong work on that, guys.
All right. Well, then the last item on here is Bob giving us all a bunch of really awesome news.
Oh, VFMP, awesome news. Is that what you- We
Yeah.
we won't really know the final potential allocation until after the allocation committee of the Southeastern Colorado Water Conservancy District meets on May 7th or so, and then they make a recommendation to their board. It's comprised of the same people, so whatever happens at the policy allocation committee will probably pass. And we don't really know if there's anything available. The numbers have dropped significantly since the guesstimate of March 1st. I mean, it's somewhere right now, I would say about 6,000 acre feet, which equates to 3,000 CFS if you're a boater, or no CFS more than acre feet. And, you know, it's interesting to me that a lot of the folks involved in making this decision have hinted at if they do have water, that they would give it to the boating recreational time frame of the BFMP is my kind of sense, which is amazing. In 2002, they imported 11,000 acre feet and we got nothing. So there's been a big, huge change of the way people look at, or those folks, and how they look at the overall impact that water has, not just on boating recreation, but the influence it has on the communities in general. So we'll have to wait and see what might potentially happen. Um, it's not looking very good. I would not be surprised to have none. Anything will be a big deal, and we will make it a big deal. We will be very grateful for any amount that potentially shows up. And, we'll go with that. I don't know if there's any questions or I know some when we were talking earlier before all of you joined on. Was it Scott? Were you asking about Clear Creek, the
Yeah, just out of
reservoir?
curiosity because I saw that the dam was going to get some work.
Well, it is getting work on, but they've actually um, moved water in kind of a weird way through exchanges. So there is a potential later on that wet water from these exchanges that's sitting up in Twin Lakes and Turquoise might be ending up in the river. Pueblo has been an amazing partner for all of us, and they have moved a lot of water in the last few years, especially in a very timely way, which, obviously it benefits them because they need to move it, but they do it in a timely manner that benefits us as well. I mean, something else that's kind of hanging out there, and I just saw Alex Townsend the other day. He did a presentation at the Outfitters Workshop just this week, and it's maybe a potential that we're going to be looking at the 250 number for the fishery, which is in the VFMP, which we have never had to give water to the fishery to keep that level. Who knows? That may show up this year, and that would be a scary thought. But something we're thinking about. And I guess along those lines of how low water affects the fishery, you guys know warm temps and how it affects other drainages, other rivers in Colorado in the west, and Montana and other places seem to run into it a lot. But I sent you the links for the water temperature gauges. I think, did I just do that today? I did it, I think, before, but did you guys see that? I think we need to get that out as far as we can. That's a great project that River Science, Luke Javernick put together. Even when I talked to him originally, when he put out those gauges, I said, Luke, we really don't need one at Wellsville. We already have one. And TU and Aroa went together, and we have one at Wellsville right upstream from the bridge. So we have two at Wellsville. And the one at Wellsville at the Division of Water Resources site it's not a place that works year round. These other ones don't work year round. And they should be coming online here in a day or so. And it'll be very interesting to see. I know just from my history here, I know it's 5 degrees difference between Wellsville and Parkdale. And I know in 2002, we hit 80 degrees in Parkdale and Canyon City in the Royal Gorge. 80 degrees. And so that's a potential. As far as, our concerns with the fishery, something we'll be watching, and maybe the VFMP water will help. And the other thing is the potential for the super El Nino phenomena coming through in the summer. Is NOAA is predicting maybe July, August, we get hit with some pretty serious monsoons. So anyway, that may help keep things cool, but we'll see. People are racing for a very challenging summer. So that's the VFMP. We'll make an announcement once we learn more in May, and we'll go from there.
Yeah,
Did you have
and
anything, Chris? You're sitting in these meetings.
no, I try to keep my mouth shut in those meetings as much as I can because I'm trying to learn as much as I can. Um, I think that a lot of what we see is people asking questions like how much water is there going to be in the river? And even knowing the allocation to the VFMP, we don't know that yet because and we won't that those decisions are made on a like a daily basis based on the flow on a given day or a given week to try to meet whatever the target is. And a usual year at 700 CFS. It certainly won't be that this year. And but
I
that's
know.
being made those so we don't know how much water there's going to be. We won't know until we know things about the monsoon and things like that. So there's a lot of misconception about out there about how the water is managed. It's not a tailwater where they can just, set a gate and open the open the pipe. But to that end, you all should know that Bob and Greg Felt are going to be giving a talk on May 20th on basically kind of trying to answer those questions. And it's going to be at the Scout Hut. And so, Scott, I'll get the information to you on that. It was originally going to
Okay.
be at the Valley View School, but we realized that there's going to be a lot of interest in this and way more people than we can fit probably into the Valley View. So we booked the Scout Hut for it.
Hmm.
It's going to be free, but so that should be really, really interesting. But Michelle should probably put that on your calendars if you can make that evening. So.
You know, the point that you're bringing up is something I hope that you bring to the VFMP session at the Water Forum. I know you and Don, I think, are going to both be in that room. I see that you guys signed up for it. But dispelling rumors is a big part of that for me when I put together some questions for the panel that I'm going to be moderating. Those are some of the things. It's like, how do you deal with native? I mean, what goes on with that, and what physically and legally can you actually do? And because everybody's always thinking, well, why don't you hold all the water in the winter and let it out in the summer? And there's a lot of different movements of water that the people that will be in that room are all the people who make those decisions. They will all be in that room. 100 people will be in the steam plant ballroom, and all those people are the ones who make those decisions or understand the restraints and those kinds of things. So between how native is treated, how do you work on allocation, and how do you come about that, and who are other potential partners that could do a little bit? Nobody's going to be able to do what Pueblo does, which is absolutely amazing. But other people potentially, maybe we shake the tree and find some new ideas at this thing, and that's what I'm shooting for. I mean, I'm learning things all the time myself. I learned that if the Frying Pan River at the Thomasville Cage, which is pretty far upstream, is in at least 100 in April and 150 in May, they can't move any water. They can't import any water. The frying pan is only flowing like 75 CFS up that high. So it's not even hitting what it needs to for them to be able to do it. So obviously more melt will trigger, but is there anything to melt? That's the question. So that's one thing, and there's a potential for other stuff to happen. Is really you start to get into the big details that we don't have to tonight, but there'll be a lot. We'll know a lot more by that Garna session, Chris. That's what I have.
Anybody have questions for Bob?
Bob, what are the dates of the forum this year?
It's next week, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Hmm.
Wednesday,
Well,
Thursday,
actually,
right?
Tuesday is the local leader dinner. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week.
Okay,
It's sold out.
that's good.
Yeah, no questions. It's super interesting, and it's going to be a kind of a wild summer. So I'm interested in hearing like the recap from the sessions and whatnot. In terms of like, I'm just trying to think about the newsletter and whatnot, and like how and what do we communicate to membership? Because I think, we have 300 people on our newsletter list, and I'm not sure how much, or sorry, how many people, Facebook and Instagram are reaching, but I think like just some, a basic recap and some facts is super helpful because fishing wise, the fly shops shoulder so much of that burden in terms of education for people who want to come here this summer. So it'll just be kind of interesting to see how it all shakes out. I mean, personally, I'm super excited for lake season. It's going to be early. Those fish are going to be eaten for an extra month at least. There's a huge amount of growth cycle, and I love getting up into the creeks in the summer anyway. So it'll be interesting to see how the fly shops handle their load, this summer in terms of like getting people out in the big river. Um, I'm not worried about fishing personally because I love going up high when the weather allows, but it'll be, let's see what happens. But thanks for the recap.
Well, that was everything we had on the agenda. So unless anybody has anything to add or any other questions, um, cool. Well, then we can adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to come tonight. Appreciate it. We got important work done that's going to set us up for the next year, and particularly for the next summer. So thank you all for your work.
Thanks,
Thank
Chris.
you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Chris.
Chris.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
everybody have a
everyone.
great night.
Yep.
Okay.
Take
Take
care,
care.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
See y'all later.